My Greatest Adventure number 3, the anthology book of Robot Man, Garbage Man, and Tenga. So let's just jump right into it. Robot Man, last issue had him approaching a village and coming across a giant robot snake that he got eaten by. This issue picks up. He's like, you know what? My body, my robot body, kind of incredible, because as long as I think it and it's possible, my body pretty much just does it. So like in this instance, I think, hey, I'm going to heat my body up to 10,000 degrees and then just walk through the snake. And it happens. So then he looks out to the sea and he's like, all right, well, I guess I got to head over that way. He flies off. His body's pretty damaged, so it crashes more into like a building or two before it hits the ocean. He talks about how there was stuff on the net about him, and he's already have it scrubbed off with his robo powers. So he uses his eating up of waste or whatever to power himself down on the ocean floor, and when he pops back out, he approaches the island where I guess he was found or made or existed or whatever. By the way, there's a passing comment in here about him leaving his previous team, whatever that's about. So he comes out of the island and he does some looking around, and he's like, okay, there's a bird with some nanites in its eyes. There's a gecko that calls itself Bob. There's a butterfly that has a QR code on its wings. And there's something huge behind that mountain. Oh, hey, there's Maddie. So it goes over, talks to Maddie, and it's like, well, he starts making his way over to Maddie. He's stopped by some gorillas that end up just being gorillas. Like, there's nothing special about them. And then he comes across Maddie and is like, hey, all right, good to see you walking. So we trace the anomaly to behind the big scary volcano over there that has clear skulls in it. It's like, cool, let's fly over. So it picks up Maddie, flies over, mentions offhandedly that her heart rate and pheromone levels are up, so something there. But as they're flying, a giant rock just comes flying at them. They fall out of the sky. Robot Man manages to save them, but then they see, like, okay, what's this that we're dealing with? And it's some giant cybernetic beast of some sort. I don't know how to describe it. Like, a gecko meets a gorilla, and then 4 times as big, I guess. And that's where we leave off there. By the way, that was Aaron Lepresti writing. Sorry, Matt Kint writing, and Scott Collins on art. I give that a 6. That's fine. It's not really doing anything. It just feels like, okay, and we're continuing on the story. Next up, we have Garbage Man. This one is by Aaron Lepresti, both art and written. We left off last issue with Batman encountering Garbage Man. And this issue just picks up with just a fight where Garbage Man's like, hey, I'm not your enemy. But Batman throws a punch. Garbage Man gets pissed. He throws a punch back. Batman pretends to be knocked out for a second, so Garbage Man approaches, and he throws a kick at Garbage Man. And Batman, but like he's walking up, he's like, are you okay, Batman? And Batman's like, that's the first time I've had an opponent ask if I'm okay. So they actually start talking, and he's like, hey, what do you know about the Titan Research Facility? He's like, plenty. What do you know about a guy named Richard Morse? Plenty. That's me. So then they start talking. We cut over to the Reverend, who's like, oh, hey, hello, everybody. I'm here to help, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy comes up, and he's like, Reverend, you got to help me. I can't go to sleep. And he's like, why not? And he's like, it's dangerous. I just can't sleep. And he's like, is someone after you? He's like, no, if I go to sleep, the monsters come out. You got to keep me awake. We cut back to Garbage Man real quick, just wrapping up his story of, corporate terribleness. And Batman's like, yeah, all right, that all tracks. Your story makes sense. And, yeah, seems like a good way to go. He's like, cool. So can you help me? And he's like, don't know. I'm going to need a sample, and I'm going to need some time. And he's like, okay, well, do you know if I'm toxic? And he's like, well, your colorful splotches, yeah, those are probably super toxic. The rest of you is probably, it's not irradiated, so just don't have prolonged contact with anything. He's like, all right, sounds good. And he's like, what should I do for now? And Batman's like, just go hang out with the Reverend, and I'll get back in touch with you. He's like, how do you know about the Reverend? He's like, I'm Batman. And Batman's away. Cut over to Titan Pharmaceuticals. They're like, okay, so Hayden is a guy on the legal team. He's like, it seems like he's getting cold feet and he might be backing out. We're going to have to take care of that problem. And that just lasts for a whole page of them just speaking in like, we might need our own legal team soon and make sure that he's well taken care of. So So then it's Garbage Man back down the sewers, and he's like, all right, just gotta hang out here, relax until Batman finds some answers. Maybe the Reverend can help me, and maybe I could help some of the people around here. Meanwhile, the people are all running through the sewers in the opposite direction. The Reverend goes flying past Garbage Man, and he's like, Garbage Man, run. And then this weird spiked tail comes out, whacks Garbage Man in the face. He's like, how am I supposed to fight what I can't see in this dark sewer? And he's like, wait a minute, does toxic mean flammable? He gets a lighter from the Reverend and lights up like his arm and then throws part of it into the darkness, which reveals this giant lizard dinosaur beast thing that he has to fight. And yeah, that's that. By the way, toxic does not mean flammable. He just got lucky with that. And then number 3, we have Tenga, written and art by Kevin McGuire. Left off last issue with them going to find some guy who may know where these giant monsters on this planet are coming from. And this is just 2 pages of nothing but expository. So this guy, he's studying the monsters. He's able to figure out, like, they're definitely not related to Tenga's appearance. They're something else entirely. The king, the blue guy from the first issue, his name is Za. And he is apparently fighting off the monsters. This has been going on for like 6 cycles. I don't know what that means. And they don't like that he's investigating the monsters and they're trying to get him killed or something like that. And they're like, okay, but I'm so low on energy here that I can't get a good reading. So then Tenga just reaches over, powers up his battery with her own internal energy source. And he's like, wow, that's awesome. You should let me probe you sometime. She's like, buy me dinner first. So then they're all like, wait a minute, hold on. My readings are saying that there's a monster coming through right now. And he's like, oh, cool. Can you tell me where? And he's like, yes, no. Like, he's using all these directions that she doesn't understand. But in the end, he just gives her an in-ear communicator and just directs her in the direction to go. So she zooms off, speed of light, sound, whatever. She gets like pretty much the entire way around the planet to this desert area, and she sees this portal opening up, and it looks like it has a beak coming through it. And she's like, oh, it looks like it's another flying creature. And then as it comes out, it turns out that it was actually like the toenail of this massive blue whale-looking alien thing that's just hanging out in this desert. And she's like, I don't know if I can do anything here, guys. And they're like, why? It's like, this is literally the biggest thing I've ever seen that's not a planet. And like, how big is it? And it's just big. I don't know what you... So she thinks she sees a vulnerable spot. She zaps it. And it's just pissed off now. And she's like, oh no, it's heading for the village. And then she's hit by an energy blast. And she's like, what the hell? What? Just hit me with an energy blast. And as it turns out, it's that blue guy, Za, from issue 1. And he's like, Tenga, I'm going to beat this monster. So declares Za. And Tenga's like, God damn it, Za. And that's where the issue ends off. I didn't rate Garbage Man. Garbage Man, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and give a 6.5. Just a 6. I wanted to give it extra, but honestly, it's just another issue. It's the same as Robot Man, honestly. For Tenga, I'm going to go ahead and give this one, I know I've been very critical of Tenga, but I am going to give this one a 5.5 just because, despite the fact that 2 pages in this book took me, no joke, 5 minutes to read through because of just how densely written it was, at least I know what's happening. That's all I've been asking for like 3 months now. I know what's happening in Tenga. Thank you. But you get a 5.5 because it could have been done better. So yeah, that is My Greatest Adventure, number 3. It's only 6 issues. We'll get to the end eventually.